Hello, everybody. Welcome to a surprise live video here on this Saturday. I really didn't expect, this was just kind of a spur of the moment type of thing. So if you didn't see, this popping up on my channel as an upcoming event, that's why. It just kind of suddenly came to mind that I would do this because I felt like doing some sewing today, and I don't have a pre-planned video for you this week. So that's why I said I will just go ahead and do this live video, right? That's how things work. If you're catching this on the replay, this is the part of the show where I kind of wait for people to pop in, since this is a live, unplanned live video. That's why I'm kind of stalling, waiting for those people to get the notifications that I'm going live. Right now we have Gail. Hi, Gail, and Deborah. Hello, Deborah. Welcome. I'm going to do a couple of things behind the scenes here so that way I can see your chat a little easier. My computer is a little far away from me today. I don't really like it that far away, but that's how the shot kind of worked today. So now I can hopefully see your chats a little bit easier. If you're here live, feel free to chat with me over on the chat box over here, or if you've made my window bigger, it may be down below. And if you're catching this on the replay, the live chat should be able to be seen. And if you want to chat with me live during a live event, make sure to turn on those notifications. Click the bell notification icon, and then make sure notifications are available on your device, whether it be on your mobile tablet, mobile phone, whatever it is. Make sure that you have those notifications enabled to allow notifications to go out. So Deborah is sewing today. Awesome. That's what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to be doing some straight line quilting on a quilt that it's a mini quilt. It's not a huge quilt. But this is the largest mini quilt I've done so far. Ooh, what is this? I'm noticing some lines going on the back of my quilt here. I'll have to take care of that later. I think that's where I had to change thread because my spool ran out, so I had to change it. Anyways, this is what I'm working on today. As you can see, I've done the top half of it, and now it's time to start working on the bottom half. It's really big to fit in the screen here at this very moment, but this is what I'm working on today. This is one that I've had since July of last year, and I've really wanted to work on quilting it. Now, I will say that I wasn't going to go with straight line quilting when I started on this project. I was actually going to go and follow the curves of those hoops that you see there. But as I got started with it, it became very evident that that was going to be very hard for me to follow. I was having a hard time following that circular pattern, especially because I originally started here in the center with this one, and I was going to follow this curve, and I gave it a couple of goes, and it just wasn't working. So I said, well, straight line quilting has worked for me in the past. Let's just keep going with straight line quilting, and that's what I did. So far, I'm happy with it, even though it's just a very simple quilting job. I really love how it's turning out so far. Now, my thing is, I don't know how people take full-size quilts and do them on their domestic machines, because it's hard enough for me to freaking get this smaller one. I don't know how big this is. I think this is like 20 inches by 30 inches. I haven't measured it, so that may be wrong. Yeah, I don't know how people do full-size quilts in their domestic machine, because man, it's not easy, at least not for me. I'm sure with practice I could probably figure it out. But anyways, if you're here, please say hello. I love hearing from y'all as I'm working on projects, so don't be shy and feel free to say hello to me as we get started. What I'm doing is I'm going ahead and rolling the side that I've already quilted up, so that way it makes it easier to go through the machine. I am still new to domestic machine quilting, so if you see me kind of struggling, and if I look kind of silly, it's because I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm still learning how to do it, so bear with me. Yeah, how do they do? Gail says, I know, right? It's hard to do with full-size quilts. I don't know how they do it. It's crazy to me, but anyways. I am not using, my Bernina actually has a adaptive quilting unit that you would plug into the machine to quilt with, and you would drop your feed dogs and just, move around. That's not how I'm doing this one, since I'm doing just straight line stitching across. That's easy enough that I can just go ahead and use my walking foot, which is built into my machine. You'll see it here in a moment. I have a built-in walking foot, and so basically I just go through and put it through, and it just helps me do it. So you'd have to have a large table next to your machine. Yeah, you do. You have to have your machine on a large machine on a large table, so that way the weight of the quilt doesn't like pull it off the side. So that would be that's true. That's true. One other thing that I want to show you, I have my little handy dandy mobile camera here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show my setup right here. So there we go. So right now it's blurry, but hopefully the light, there we go. So I have this is my walking foot. This is the built-in walking foot here to my Bernina machine. And then this right here, this is my stitch guide. This is going to help me know. I've set mine to about 1/2 inch, so our needle is 0. And then our little stitch guide here is at about 1/2 inch. So I'm going through, and basically what I'm doing is I'm lining up the previous row with this, and then that gives me the next spot where my needle needs to go. Did any of that make sense? I hope it, I keep clicking the wrong button. I hope that made sense to you. I'm still learning, like I said, but you know, we're learning together, right? All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to turn this back over. There we go. And this actually, you can see it better here. This is my built-in walking foot that's here on my machine. It's technically on the Bernina, it's called the dual feed, but it's a walking foot is all it really is. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my quilt. I don't know if this is the best angle. I tried to figure out many different angles to get y'all into the action so that way you could see what was going on. But this was unfortunately the best that I could do. I would love to have a fancy studio set up where I could get all the camera angles that I need, but until I become a millionaire, that's just not going to happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get set up. My machine's going to make a funny noise at first because this is the first time that I've started sewing with it today, so it usually takes a second and gives as it's kind of like warming up and getting ready. I don't know. I think it's basically here's the camera over here. Basically, what it's doing, so like, what's his name? Steve Irwin out in the wild. Basically, what's happening is the machine is making sure that the needle needs to be where it is, and it's just making sure that everything's set up properly. There's the funny noise. You may or may not have heard that on because I got my ear pods in, so hopefully any extra noise like the sewing machine doesn't make too much noise where you can't hear my voice. But all I'm doing is I'm just going to follow the lines that I've already set up. Right now I am going down the middle line. That's the very first line that I did, and I'm just sewing along that very first line in the middle of the quilt. I've heard, I don't know if this is always true, but you always want to start kind of towards the center of the quilt and work your way out, because then you don't have to worry about too many, you don't have to worry about those wrinkles and stuff like that. Because if you start at in weird place, if you start part way, I keep looking at this camera, but it's this camera. If you are sewing in different, I'm not explaining this right. Basically, you can trap the wrinkles in the fabric if you don't start like in the center and work your way out. That's what I've heard. Is it true or not? I don't know. Also, I found this spot. So this is where I changed threads, and I think I just trapped all sorts of excess thread in the back of my quilt. But I'll work on that another time when I can actually focus, because obviously I have shiny thing syndrome today because I can't seem to focus on just about anything. So yeah, feel free to chat, say hello. I'm just going to sit here. It shouldn't take me too long to do this. The first half didn't take me too long. And so now as I'm working on the second half, it really shouldn't take too long. Maybe, my guess is like 20 minutes maybe. It is a little longer because I'm talking with y'all, but it still shouldn't be all that much. All right, there we go. Now, a lot of people watching this may be like, hey, wait, you're not like burying your threads or anything like that. I don't have to because I'm going to be trimming all of this. I don't have to bury threads. And especially since I'm not starting and stopping in the middle of the quilt, I'm starting and stopping off to the sides, which, like I said, is going to get cut off anyways. It doesn't really matter if I bury threads. Yes, Ian, it's true. Been there, done that. Yep, it happens. So now I'm just going to keep going. I want to make sure I'm using my right hand to take the pressure off, make sure it moves smoothly. The machine, like I said, grabs. It has that dual feed on it. So what it's doing is it's actually pushing the fabric for me. I'm just kind of guiding. Is really what's going on here. It's just me guiding, making sure that everything is going through properly. And when I wasn't holding the right side, it ended up slowing it down. It wouldn't stop it, but I definitely hit a couple points where the stitches became much smaller because the machine was having a hard time pulling this quilt through on its own. So I hold the right side up where a lot of the weight is to make sure that my stitches stay somewhat regular. Now, it's not going to be 100% perfect. No quilt is ever 100% perfect, but that's okay as long as I get a somewhat consistent stitch. That's all that matters to me. And I'm not entering this into a competition, so I don't have to worry too much. This is just for me. This one is by no means perfect. This was my first attempt at the Drunkard's Path twice cut, I can't remember the name of the workshop. It's a Jenny Haynes, I think it's Jenny Haynes workshop that my quilt guild did. And this was one of the patterns that you could do. It's the hole punch hoop. So if you look up on Google, hole punch hoop, you'll find everything you need to know about it. I love it. It's a great optical illusion. It's a lot of fun. And overall, I think the effect worked the way I wanted it to. There are some flubs. I have a couple of spots where seams didn't quite line up correctly, and even a couple of places where I had to go back, rip some stitches out, and ended up, you're actually able to see my thread where I was sewing at. So there we go. Another row done. Doesn't take long. And it's just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's almost like a lawnmower. You're just going back and forth, doing the same thing over and over again. I do have some batting in this. Oops, I don't want it right there. I'm going to pick my foot up a little bit and put it back down. There we go. Line everything up, and away we go. You also have to remember that the lines on the edge are going to get sewn in quite nicely because when you put your binding on, that binding is going to trap any of those threads on the side. So you don't have to worry too much. I'm getting a little bit of a bumpy area here, so I'm going to take a second and smooth everything out, make sure that it's lying as flat as possible. My presser foot also helps with that. I'm just going to keep pushing. For the most part, I think my seams are pretty parallel, pretty straight across. It's not going to be perfect, but I think they're pretty good. I don't think I'll have too much to worry about. And as you get further and further along, the my left side that I have here, it kind of gets harder to push it through because most of the weight is over here on my right side. And so the left side's pretty light, and it just kind of wants to not go along with the heft of the quilt, if that makes any sense at all. At least that's how I think it's working. Now, I am by no means an expert at quilting. So if you're watching this expecting expert opinions and advice and all that, that's not me, unfortunately. Because even as I'm looking at this, I'm noticing that my line is kind of wobbly. And I don't know if that's because, I noticed this on the other side too. I don't know if it's because my quilting is wobbly or if it's because my seams are wobbly. It may be a combination of both. You just don't know. I mean, somebody does know, but the one I don't know because I haven't had the experience in quilting all that much yet. So anyway, overall though, I'm happy with how this one has come out. And so now I'm just continuing on. Stitch by stitch, I have one important thing to remember is that when you are quilting, you do want to lengthen your stitch length a little bit. Normally your machine is set up to 2.5 is usually where machines are set for a normal stitch. With the quilting stitch, you go up to 3. At least I go up to 3. My Bernina already has some quilting stitches built into it, so I just go ahead and click on those, and it will automatically set the stitch length to 3 for me. All right. Put that back down there. Gail says, what do you mean wobbly? So I can't, I'll show you here in a little bit, but basically my seam, my line for my seam is like right here, and then my stitch is kind of like going like that. So it's not exactly parallel, but again, I don't think my seams were straight to begin with. And when I was looking at this, like when I kind of looked at this quilt, the first half of it that I did, I looked at it thinking, oh gosh, this is like not going to work at all. Like you're going to see that there is some wobbliness to it. But when I looked at it from across the room and even halfway across the room, I couldn't even tell that there was really a problem. It looked straight. So that's the cool thing about like the intervals. It just kind of helps trick the eye, I guess. I don't know. I don't even know exactly what's happening, but I couldn't tell that there was any wobble. So let me see if I can find a spot here. Okay, here we go. Here's the spot right here. Let me bring my camera in. Okay, so here's the seam right here. And here's where I did a line of stitching. This is hard to do because the light is so bright. But notice that as I go down, do you see here? No, you can't see. Do you see here that the amount of space between the quilting and the seam has gotten smaller? So it's gotten smaller right there. There we go. So look how much space it focused and then it went away. So anyways, it's not a big deal. It's really not, because from across the room, you're not really going to be able to see it. So it's not a big deal. And this is going to be a wall hanging anyways. Like, it's not going to be something that I'm going to put on a bed. Too small for a bed. Well, I guess for a crib, you could put it in a crib, but I don't. This is going to be a wall hanging, is what it's going to be. I see somebody put a chat in there. Give me a second. I want to make sure. Oh, yes, now I see what you mean. Well, for some reason, your seams aren't parallel to your quilting, right? That won't be noticeable. It's true. When you look at it across the room, it's not noticeable. It's really not noticeable. So I'm not freaking out too much. One of these days, I will try to do a full-size quilt here in my domestic machine, but oof, that's going to be a project. It's going to be like a long project. All right, do it again. And let's see if I can and try and fold this over. There we go. So just keep rolling this and folding it over as I keep going, because you don't want too much bulk hindering you. So I'm just going to keep going. I've got a full day of filming ahead of me. I have another project that I'm going to work on probably after I get off of here. Once I'm done with this live video, I'm going to jump into my next project, which I'm excited about. Probably would help if I had those grippy gloves. Quilters use gripping gloves to help them. I don't know the name, but they use them to help grab that fabric, because it does kind of slide under your hands. You feel like you have a good grip, but in actuality, I feel it's sliding all over the place. So it'd probably help if I did get a pair of those gloves at some point. There we go. On that seam, I kind of adjusted a little bit. Or on that quilting line, I kind of adjusted a little bit, so that way it would be a little straighter. I'm just looking at my work. Yeah, I think that helps a little bit. So I'm going to keep doing that. Splendor and Shine? No, not Splendor and Shine. And I think you mean Sparkle and Shine. No, not that one. I can't get used to the gloves. Gail, yeah, I've never tried it, so I don't know. Oh, thank you so much, Gail. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Saturday. Thanks for stopping by. I am excited for Sparkle and Shine, though. I can't wait to see what that one looks like. I know we're only the first month in, and I say that every time I get a new puzzle mystery quilt, but I definitely am very excited to see what that one looks like. Which colorway did you get? I got the Moonstone because I love Tulip Pink. And that one spoke out the most to me. Anytime I look at the colorways, I always look at which colorway speaks out the most to me, and that one was really speaking to me. I'm going to smooth this out for a second. Make sure I'm following that line as best as possible. There we go. Deborah's doing Pearl. Yeah, the grays. That one's Libs Elliott, if I remember correctly. Libs Elliott has that one, or the fabric is Libs Elliott, and that was kind of my second one that I was going to look at. But then Tulip Pink has that little bit of rainbow in it, which I love. So I was like, all right, we're going to do rainbow. I mean, it's not rainbow, but it's mostly blacks, whites, green, orange. There's another color in there, and I can't remember off the top of my head. Trying to think of the color wheel. But yeah, Sparkle and Shine is going to be an awesome one. I have a feeling whenever that one's done, that one's going to be amazing. We're getting close to being done with Are You Game? I can't remember which clue we're on right now for Are You Game. Are you doing Are You Game, Deborah? I'm going to pull this out and roll this up even more, because it's getting a little hard for me to manage. I need like a pool noodle. That's what I need. Just got 7. Thank you, Gloria. I couldn't remember which clue we were on. Yeah, we're almost done with that one. I'm getting excited. So this month is 7. This is February. So we have March and April. Yeah, March and April. And we'll be done in April. That's exciting. It's almost here. 2 months away. Can't believe that. I love the colorway that I did for that one, because that one I picked the Allison Glass, which had a lot of primary colors in it, and it's primary in black. Red, green, blue, and orange, and black. And I'm loving those clues right now. They are so beautiful. It is, to me, I said this in one of my videos, it really reminds me of like a casino with the colorway that I chose. It really reminds me of like a casino kind of, I want to say like game board, but that's not. Like tabletop really kind of reminds me of that. And I can't wait, like I'm already kind of playing in my head with how to put these clues together. I mean, of course I don't know how. Only Cynthia Christensen, Sheila Christensen knows how to put them all together. Forgot her name for a moment. Only she knows how to put them together because that's her quilt. She designed the pattern for it. But it's fun to kind of guess and think about like, oh, I wonder if this part goes here and this part goes there, and you know. To me, it feels like some of these pieces are kind of smaller than some of the clues are smaller than what I've had on other puzzle mystery quilts, and I'm not sure. I mean, in the end, they're all going to go together and form the quilt, but I'm kind of wondering like how, I don't know. To me, it just seemed like, especially on Name Rose, it seemed like there were some really big clue pieces on there. And then for this one, Are You Game, they're much smaller. But maybe that's just in my head. I don't know. Guys, I'm feeling so much better. I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, but on Wednesday, I received my second COVID-19 vaccine, and by Thursday, I was not feeling well at all. But the good thing is that means it was working. But I ended up taking a sick day from work yesterday because I just did not feel well at all Thursday afternoon. About 24 hours after I got the second vaccine dose, I did not feel well. I had a lot of body aches, mild body aches, not just, light. They were pretty mild. I really just kind of wanted to curl up into a ball and not do anything. I finished out my day at work that day, which was good. But I took Friday to rest up, and I'm so glad I did. I stayed on the couch all day yesterday, and I just didn't do anything. My body needed that time to rest. I feel much better today. I feel probably about 90-95% back to normal. But yeah, if you, you hear about the second dose being a little worse, it was, at least for me, was a little worse. I put my water back here because I was too afraid I was going to knock it over as I was doing this. There we go. All right, let's do the next line. I do have a stuffy nose, and I think it might be a reaction to the vaccine, because I've heard a couple of people say that they get stuffy noses whenever they've gotten their vaccine. So, but guys, if you get the chance, take your vaccine. Go get your vaccine. I know how lucky I am to have gotten mine. I'm so thankful that I have my second dose, and in 12 more days, in theory, in 12 more days, I should be at 94 or 95%. Ooh, wow, I can't talk. Efficacy. No, I really can't talk today. Wow. Efficacy. Try saying that word 5 times fast. Which I'm so thankful for. I am so incredibly thankful for that. That's for sure. I'm also on the lookout for Girl Scout cookies. This is Girl Scout cookie season, and I need to buy some cookies soon. What happened there? I don't know. Sometimes my machine does weird things. I have some hairs stuck. That was a cat hair. That was a cat hair left over from when I used to live with Mom. All right, let's go and do the next line. We're about halfway, it looks like. A little over halfway. I'm getting there. Just going to keep chugging along, talking to myself. I'm sure my neighbors think that I talk to myself a lot. And a lot of times I'm projecting too. Like my voice gets louder because I want to make sure that the microphones are picking up what I'm saying. So I'm pretty sure my neighbors think I'm crazy at this point. But that's okay. Probably isn't far from the truth. I also need to get a craft video ready for next weekend. But I don't know what I'm going to do. I need to dig into my stash and see what stamps I have. Glad to hear you're feeling better. I'm trying my hardest not to have the COVID jab unless I really need it, as I have fibro and wow. Did this vaccine mess up my speech? I don't know. Chronic fatigue. I feel you. I feel you, Angela. It's not fun. It's not fun. But you absolutely should do what you feel is best for you. I 100% think that, and always, like, if you have chronic conditions, always talk to your doctor. But I also am like, for me, I'm relatively healthy. There was only one factor that put me into one of those risk factor zones. But also, like, because I thought about that, I'm like, for the most part, I'm healthy. I could not get the dose, and then someone who really, really, really needs it could have it. But then I was also like, it also, like, if I didn't get it, it could make me really, really sick, and I could end up in the hospital. So it's, this whole thing has been such a moral dilemma for a lot of people. Moral and also, like, stressful just in their own minds, because yeah, absolutely. I'll go back to what I was going to say. Basically, talk to your doctor. Talk to your doctor and see what they recommend, because they're going to know best. They're going to be like, hopefully they're 100% up to date with the newest information that's come out about what's going on and the vaccines and side effects and all that kind of stuff. So, talk to your doctor, find out what they think is best for you, and follow their advice is what I would say. But I totally understand 100% why you would try to avoid it, because, yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun. But I will say, I would take what I felt on Thursday 100 times over if it means that I am going to be protected, It was not fun to feel not so good. However, I know that means it's working. And that's the most important thing, is that it's working and I'm going to be protected, which is great. John, welcome. It is a Bernina. It's my rainbow unicorn Bernina. Special edition, Tula Pink. I also just recently was able to sell I had another Bernina. I had the Aurora 440. And I was just able to sell that last weekend. Last weekend? I think it was last weekend. Which helped pay down a little bit on this machine. Because guys, this machine is expensive. I'm not gonna beat around the bush or sugarcoat that. This is an expensive machine. So I'm glad that I'm glad I was able to pay it down a little bit more with the money that I got from the sale of my old Bernina. I didn't want to sell that Bernina. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I didn't want to sell that Bernina. It's smaller. It's a good workhorse machine. But I needed to pay for this machine some more. That means I'm going to pay this machine off early, which is great. There we go. I'm not sure what version Cinnamon has. It's the latest mechanical one, I think. Oh, I will go look. They are the best. Yeah, Bernina's. So I used to use a Singer machine, and I probably will never go back. I mean, this Bernina is going to be like my machine for life. Singer machines are fine if that's what you can afford. I'm not knocking them. They're not bad machines. They're just, the Bernina, I feel like, in my opinion, and this is only my opinion, I feel that Berninas are superior to a Singer machine. Granted, this one's a much more expensive machine than the Singer machine, so it also kind of plays into, like, you get what you paid for. And with this machine, I paid for a lot. There's a lot of features on this machine. Activia 240. Is that the serger? I can't remember. I'm going to look this up because I'm dying to know now. Let me see. TIVA 240. Oh, yeah. I know which one. Okay. Okay, all right. Yeah, it's a little baby machine. I love it. I don't know if it's going to come across on camera, but that's the one that John is talking about. Yeah, it's Berninas are good machines. I would get a 200 Eversone over yeah. I would get yeah, absolutely. The 200s. I mean, I had the 440, and it was great. Yep, great machines. I would much rather have this machine than a Singer. I don't know. They don't make this one anymore, but yeah, I would go for that any day. Berninas are just better, in my opinion. This is strictly my opinion only. Like, guys, don't go out and be like, oh my God, the off-kilter crafter said Berninas are the best machine in the world, and then you get a Bernina and you're like, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. My opinion only, Bernina machines are the best. I've never had, like when I used Mom's for a long time. I used her Singer for a very long time, and it did what I needed it to do. But this one, I don't even know how to describe it. It's kind of like the Cadillac. It feels better sewing on this one. I don't know how to describe it. I can tell that this one does a better job. And you're probably like, well, that doesn't really help me, Ian. I'm like, yes, I know. But there's something about even just the feel of this one as you're sewing with it that it is superior, in my opinion. Totally my opinion. The 440 was my first Bernina, yeah. That was my first Bernina too. Gloria, like I said, I didn't want to sell my 440 at all. I really didn't. But I had to. I had to do it. Because I needed that. I needed the money to pay for this new one. So it sucks. I would have liked to have kept it so that way when things do go back to normal, if I wanted to go to a sew day somewhere or a retreat or something like that, I could have taken my 440 with me instead of this big honking one. But it is, you got to do what you got to do, and that's unfortunately what I had to do. So maybe one day me and my 440 will be reunited again when I become a millionaire, but we'll see. John says it's rock solid, has a bunch of core stitches, but it is super solid and does all the basic functions with grace and power. That's what it is, John. Grace and power. That's what I would say. That's how I could tell the difference. The others just can't match. It's true. Bernina University in Dallas this year. I hope I'm able to go. That's awesome. I would like to just do things again. COVID is really, like when I got this machine, so whenever you buy a Bernina machine, I don't know, Gloria may be able to tell me better, but whenever you get a Bernina machine, at least the one that I got free classes with it. And that was right when COVID started. And so I've never been able to go get my classes. And basically I've had to learn my machine through trial and error. I mean, it still has a warranty on it, so it's not a big deal. If something breaks, it gets fixed. But, I've never been able to go get my classes done, which really sucks because I'm sure I'm missing out on some really cool features or really cool things that I just don't know about. Angela, yeah, good luck on becoming that millionaire. Trust me, if I could, oh man. One thing is for sure though, guys, if I was ever to become a millionaire, okay, so the master plan, if I became a multimillionaire, if I won a couple of $1 million, more than one, let's put it that way. If I won more than $1 million, I would work really hard to figure out how to make $1 million donation to the Trevor Project. So if I ever become a multimillionaire, my goal is to figure out, of course, I want to be able to live comfortably, but I also want to figure out how to give $1 million to the Trevor Project. So that's my goal. Obviously, I don't see that I'm going to become a millionaire anytime soon. But just letting you know now, like, that would be the goal if I got $1 million. Yeah, John, you're right. It's hard to break one. Yeah, it's totally true. Yes, ours are unlimited, but some dealers say 22-hour classes, and you're on your own. Yeah, or two-hour classes. Excuse me, two-hour classes, not 22-hour. I'm pretty sure if I went to this machine is going to be going into the shop here next month. I think next month. Um, because it's really a good idea to do maintenance on your machines once a year. So basically just clean it, oil it, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to take it in probably next month and have my Bernina dealer clean it all out and get it oiled and back to 100%. Because it really is a good idea to it's like a car. You have to have your car serviced for me, it's about every 6 months. So just like your car, you want it oiled and working in the best possible shape that you can get it. So it will go into the shop next month, I think, and you can get just a tune-up. Basically, it's just a tune-up. It all starts with headspace. I totally believe you could be a millionaire if you put your head to it. I'm trying, George. I'm trying, John. If you ever have questions, you can always. I know, Gloria. I appreciate that. That new Bernina smell. Absolutely, John. Yeah, and my Bernina dealer, which, by the way, the one that I go to is Sewed Up Bernina here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. They did some online like Zoom classes. I just hate the fact that like I had scheduled classes with them and it just didn't work out. Thanks, COVID. But yes, Gloria, I know if I have questions, I can always come to you, and I really appreciate that. I hope you're not cringing too much as I'm doing this. I hope I'm not saying completely wrong stuff. You would correct me if I was saying stuff wrong, though. Gloria, I don't know if we talked about this one, but I'm not a super fan of the knee bar. I'm not like I've tried it a couple of times and I just get frustrated with it, to be honest. So I don't know. What is your opinion about the knee bar, Gloria? For me, it's a meh. Maybe if I was doing garments, like if I was sewing on clothing and stuff, I might feel differently about it. But right now, I'm just like, no, I'm good. I'm going to take a second and smooth this out. Never be afraid to stop and just kind of smooth your fabric out. Oh, I have to run and do dad tasks. Okay, John, take care. Thanks for stopping by. I do have a couple of patterns that I want to work on. I need to do them in muslin first because I want to practice with the muslin before I go in and actually put these projects together. But I do have a pattern for a button-up shirt, and that's one of the things that I would love to learn how to do is like use the button maker or the buttonhole maker, and there's a button foot, and I have it in my cart, but I'm waiting for a sale because I know there's one coming up summer, I think. So I think this summer I might buy the button foot. And I know there's a cool feature where you can like put the button on the screen and you change the size on the screen and it automatically knows where to put the buttonhole thread. And I don't know. It looks really cool. I've done research on it. I just haven't ever done it. Another problem that I'm running into is I need the pattern to be printed out, and I really want to go print it at Kinko's on one of their big rolls, so that way I don't have to like tape a whole bunch of 8.5 by 11 pieces of paper together to get my pattern. But I just haven't, with COVID, like pre-COVID, I would just walk into the store and be like, hey, this is what I want. But honestly, I'm like scared to go into stores right now. Even with masks and stuff, I don't know. It makes me nervous. That's one reason why I'm super glad I got the shot, is because now I don't have to be so freaked out anymore. But yeah, like I need to figure out how to get this pattern printed on one of those big pieces of paper to size, so that way I can just cut it out and not have to worry about taping all those pieces of paper together. I'm getting close to the top end. We're almost there, folks. I don't know how long I've been live, but we're getting there. And if you're watching this on the replay, I really appreciate you taking the time to spend with me today. I'm going to lift my foot up because I got a little bit. I think I'm going to catch a little bit of a pucker here, unfortunately. Tried to kind of even it out a little bit. Let's see what happened. I think I saved it. I think I was able to save it without having the pucker in it. Puckers are for your face, not in your quilt. There we go. I have been live for almost an hour. Almost an hour. So I forgot to look and see if I caught the pucker or not, but that's all right, no big deal. I need to do that again. Let's raise up the presser foot and put it back down. There we go. That's better. Sewing just makes me happy. Like, it's my happy place. It's my go-to place because I can just sit here and just sew. When I get unhappy is when I start doing like three-dimensional stuff. So if I'm working on a shirt or a collar, like a collar of a shirt, oh my God, that's like the worst thing ever. It's so hard to do, at least for me. I haven't quite wrapped my mind around it yet. I'll get to it at some point, I'm sure. The other pattern that I want to work on is a zippered bag. Again, I want to test it out in muslin. That is what I've learned, is you sew it twice, at least. You sew once in muslin just to kind of see, you know, the pinch points, the areas that won't work, and just to practice on it, basically. What is this? This is some fuzz right here. I'm going to trim this fuzz. There we go. But yeah, you sew it in muslin just to test the pattern, and then go from there. Didn't quite hit right. Let me move this over a little bit. There we go. All right, let's keep going. I love this speckled fabric too. It's beautiful. It's from Ruby Star Company, and I think it works so well with this quilt. I love it so much. It gives a great texture in the background, and it works out perfectly. All right, almost there. Just a little ways longer, but we are almost there. I also love that the background has that little bit, it has some like golden sparkle bits to it. Some of the dye or paint or whatever they use in the background is a gold metallic, and it looks so cool. The other thing that I love about this machine is the auto thread cutter. I can't live without one now. Like, I will have to have one for the rest of my life. I mean, this machine is going to be with me forever, but that was one thing that oh my gosh, it made my life so much easier to have that automatic thread cutter. It's wonderful. So wonderful. Gloria is the one that taught me the hopping foot setting. Is that what they call it, Gloria? Hopping foot? I can't remember. But that made life so much easier there. There we go. It gets hard to manage a quilt whenever you have a lot of fabric on one side. Hover, thank you, hover, the hover setting. That setting saved my life. So glad you told me about it. There we go. You can't beat the auto needle threader too. Oh, okay, you are so right. It was on my 440. I didn't have it on the Singer at all. It was on my 440, and it's on this one. And it is a lifesaver, because otherwise I would be spending like 10 minutes trying to get my needle threaded. So you were right. You were right. So much hair, so much cat hair. I miss my little babies. That is for sure. Even if they did get their hair all over my projects. It is an awesome feature. Thread cutter, hovering foot. Kept wanting to call it hopping foot. Maybe it's because I was hopping mad without it. I don't know. But yeah, those three right there just make life 10 times easier. I don't know if y'all can even hear my machine, because that's the good thing about these AirPod Pros is they noise cancel. So the other person on the other end of the phone doesn't have to hear all the extra noises and stuff going on. So I don't know if y'all can hear my machine or not, but I just also love, like, you can hear, when you listen to the machine, you can hear the strength and power in it. Like, there's some heft behind it for sure. All right, we're getting real close, guys. A couple more times, and I think we will have it. I'm going to take this out, though, and I'm going to re-roll it. Oh, it's looking good. It's looking real good, guys. All right, let me re-roll this. There we go. All right. We'll put this back into the machine. Kind of hard working with it, but I'll make it work. You know, you just do what you have to do sometimes to get a fabric to go in the right way at just the right angle. I'm going to scoot the chair up a little bit, readjust myself a little bit. Ooh, I'm getting a little wobbly. That's okay. It's up towards the top. Not a big deal. That row is a little wobbly. There we go. I would say probably like 5 or 6 more rows and I might have it. 1, 2, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 or 6, I think. And we should have it. And it's only, whoa, when did it suddenly get 3:30 in the afternoon? How did that happen? Seriously, like, look up at the clock and it's 3:30 already. I was thinking it's like, oh, it's like 2:30, 2:15, somewhere around in there. Did not expect it to be 3 o'clock, or 3:30 actually. There we go. Ouch. I just caught myself on the seam guide. So a good way to store quilts as you're working on them. So like the next step for this one is going to be the binding, which I'm probably not going to get to today. So probably what I would do if I had one is I would grab a pool noodle and wrap your quilt around the pool noodle to store it. That is a great tip, especially because pool noodles are sold at the dollar store, at least they are here. They're sold at the dollar store. It may be a little hard to find one right now because obviously we're not in summer, but we're headed back to summer. Angela says it's 9:30 p.m. here in the UK. I didn't realize you were in the UK. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in this late at night over in the UK. But anyways, pool noodles make amazing quilt storage tools, and they're super cheap. Just make sure don't use one that's already been in the pool. Just use a fresh one, because you don't want the chlorine, even if it's like dry. I would worry about chlorine and pool chemicals and all that kind of stuff. So I would just use a fresh, clean one that's never been in a pool. Getting like cross-eyed from staring at my previous stitch line. There we go. I think we got 2 or 3 more and we're done. I don't know if I may trim this one tonight. We'll see. I kind of want to get my other project done first before I jump back into this one. The other project will take me like an hour or 2, so it won't take too long. This might be my last. I might be able to get one more. I'll see. I might be able to do one more. Got a little bit of a spot trying to pucker. Thankfully, the presser foot helps out with that a lot. All right, let's see here. My batting isn't. Let's just do it. Let's just do one more. The batting isn't quite under all of it, but I think I'll just do one more row just to be on the safe side. I'm definitely not practicing the best form for quilting and sewing, but, you know, posture, fine. It's fine. I think I did just get a pucker in there. But like I said, I don't think this row is really going to be, I may end up just trimming this row completely off. Also, another good way to store your quilts is a free foam from a carpet. Oh, from a quilt. Okay. A good way to store your quilt is free from a carpet supplier. Those cardboard rolls from the inside of new carpet. Oh, that's such a great idea. Apparently, I just can't read. That is such a great idea. I hadn't thought about that. I should go to a carpet seller and be like, hey, can I have that free roll on the inside? That's a good idea. I hadn't thought about that one. All right, we are done. And I did get a pucker, but that's okay. Like I said, that part's probably going to get cut off anyways. All right, so unroll it here. Let's see, which way does it go? It goes this way. Whoops. There we go, guys. There is. I'm trying to look behind the camera here. Let me change cameras. Oh, I'm upside down. There we go. All right, guys. There we go. There is our. Oops, I just knocked my scissors on the ground. That's not good. There it is, all quilted up. And I just noticed I have a couple of threads on the back here that are trapped inside now. Oh, well, that'll be fine. So there we go. There is our straight line quilting done for today's project. And if you're, I'll make sure to put pictures of this up on Instagram whenever I get them. Whenever I get it all quilted out, or whenever I get it all sewn up. I do need to put it into the wash because there are a couple of spots where, so I cut all of this out on my Cricut. All the hoop pieces got cut out on my Cricut, and I didn't know that specific marks weren't really needed for this project. So I do need to put it through the washing machine, clean it up a little bit, and get it all cleaned and less marky. But that's going to be after I put the binding on, which I haven't even cut yet. I still have to cut the binding. So Gloria says she likes the straight line. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you do, because I was really worried about it. I didn't know if I was going to like it, but I do. I like this. I like it a lot. I think it really enhances the hole punches. Yeah. So I'm really pleased with that a lot. So there you go. That's all we're going to do for today. I hope you have enjoyed hanging out. And again, if you caught this on the replay, thanks for spending time with me and watching this on the replay and just hanging out. I really do appreciate it. So I think that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you guys. Oh, what am I doing? I'm clicking wrong buttons. There we go. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. I hope you have a great weekend. Don't forget, if you're not already a subscriber, click that button down below that says subscribe. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and get great updates every time I post a new video, or go live by clicking the bell notification icon. And always, you can catch me on social media as well. Hope everybody has a great day. And remember, guys, normal's just a setting on the dryer.